Everybody, how's it going? Stoutman coming back at you once again, and today I'm going to be talking to you. I'm going to be talking to you about some things that I got from SecondSpin. This time around, I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 titles that I ended up picking up for. I think it came to a total of $35. So, 4,375, less than $4.50 per title. There you go. That's how much I paid. Less than $4.50 per title. So, not bad, especially considering some of the things that I found. Now, some of them aren't necessarily worth a whole lot of money, even during the best time of year, even during Black Friday. In fact, there's one item in here I know was $4 on Black Friday, and I just neglected to pick it up, but now I'm paying a little bit more for it, I guess, but I think it's worth it because some of the other things I found are almost never the price that I found them for, so I'll deal with that. I will deal with it. Especially considering, again, it's that time of year where there aren't that many sales. It's harder to find a better deal, so, you know, you got to take what you can get. So, SecondSpin had a halfway decent deal, and I managed to snag some pretty good titles for some pretty good prices, especially considering a lot of them were things that I've had them on my wish list and wanted to add to my collection for quite some time. So, with that in mind, let's show you what I got. First thing I picked up here, and it's probably the most ragged looking of them all, is Anonymous on Blu-ray. Now, for those who don't know, this is a movie about the theory, so to speak, that William Shakespeare did not write all of his plays. That somebody else wrote those plays, and he plagiarized them, and, you know, it's just kind of like a mystery movie about, oh, who actually wrote those plays? Was it actually William Shakespeare? What actually happened, you know what I mean? And when I saw the concept for it, when I saw the trailer for it years ago, I thought, wow, that actually looks really interesting. I can't wait to see it. And then it never arrived in theaters near me. I'll put it that way. Like, I was waiting for it and waiting for it and waiting for it, and it never came to theaters. So I was just like, I just completely forgot about it because I ended up waiting for so long that it just completely forgot. And then eventually, like, I came across the artwork here, and it's like, oh yeah, that movie, oh yeah. And then for a couple of years now, I've just been, you know, waiting to find the best price on it. Well, less than $5, even though it's in a little bit of crappy shape here. Less than $5 is not that bad, and the disc itself is actually in very good condition, so I can't complain too much about that. It is a Roland Emmerich film. Usually he does disaster movies. This doesn't strike me as a disaster movie, but I don't think it did, like, super well either. I think this is one that did a mediocre job either in theaters or wherever the hell they decided to release it. They might have just released it straight to Blu-ray and DVD for all I know. I don't know what happened to this one. Kind of just fell through the cracks for me, and now I'm picking it up because I really wanted to see what they did with the concept. Maybe it sucks, maybe it doesn't, who knows? You gotta try things out. And this is one that I've been wanting to try out for quite some time. Never see it on Netflix, never see it anywhere like that, so decided to go ahead and buy it here for a couple bucks. Not a bad price, not a bad deal. Next up, I finally decided to pick up The Invasion, which is the second remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There was the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I have on Blu-ray from all of films. That one came out in, I believe, 1955 or thereabouts. And then there was a second one that came out in like 1977, 1978. That was the remake with Donald Sutherland. Fantastic movie. And then this one came out in like 2007. Yeah, 2007. And a lot of people were saying, oh, it's terrible. What did they do? Well, I did a review of all three, right? I did a review of all three Invasion of the Body Snatchers movies, and I put that on my channel, I think the year before last, so 2016, during the Halloween season. And I really actually enjoyed this one, even though I felt like I was going to go back to it and be like, you know, it's not as good as the originals. No, it is. It is. It's different in its own way, but it's still pretty damn good. And I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that it was a little bit different take on the concept in a more modern setting, and it actually worked. I wouldn't say maybe as well, but almost as well as the original movies, to the point where I felt like I'm going to watch this movie again probably in the next few years. And if that's the case, then I'm going to want to get it on Blu-ray. There you go. Got it on Blu-ray. Now I have all three Invasion of the Body Snatchers movies in my collection. So I think I already mentioned this one, but yes, this movie is one that is usually on sale for about $4 during the Black Friday sales, and I just neglected to get it. Kung Fu Panda 2. I've never actually seen this one. I saw Kung Fu Panda, I believe, like in theaters, but then I never bothered to watch the second or the third movie. I think I may have seen a few clips from this one, or maybe the clips from the third one, but I've never seen the full movie. So I said, you know, less than $5 to be able to pick up the full movie of Kung Fu Panda 2, see it for myself, decide if I like it or not, you know. And it's not that much to pay. Again, it's the price that you would pay for a movie rental back in the day. If you're willing to pay that much for a movie rental, you should be willing to pay that much to own the product. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to pay that much to own the product, even if I don't necessarily love it. If I don't love it, then I can sell it or do something else with it, give it to a friend or something. But at least now I can watch the movie in the highest possible quality. Next up here we have Erin Brokovich, and I don't know how to say it. Erin Brokovich, I think is how you say it. I know a lot of people don't actually like this movie. A lot of people think it's stupid, over the top, yada yada yada. I loved this movie when it came out, and I have since watched it several times, and I still love it. I still think it's an excellent movie from Julia Roberts here. I think she did a fantastic job, and it's worthy of praise. It's worthy of recognition. And maybe that's why the price never goes down on this one. I never see it for less than $8 to $10. So being able to get this for less than $5 to me was like, that is one of the best deals that I've ever seen on this particular title. So I had to do it. I was like, yes, finally I can get this in my collection. Finally I can watch this again. It's been so long since I actually did watch this, but I know I'm still going to love it. I know I'm still going to love it because it's just such a good movie. Steven Soderbergh movie. Pretty good stuff. So, yeah. I don't know. Tell me what you think of Erin Brokovich. I think it's still relevant, and I think it's still very good. Because I see these companies trying to pull this stupid shit when it comes to the drilling and the pipeline and stuff like that. And it just reminds me of this movie. Because it's not exactly the same thing, right? And the other thing that reminded me of this movie was like what happened in Michigan a year or two ago with the Michigan water fiasco, which I believe still hasn't been cleared up. But it just reminds me of that. Like a big company who thinks that they can get away with fucking anything, and they just can't. So it's just not okay. So one of the reasons I really love this movie, because it has that positive message about somebody not letting the big rich people get away with everything they want. You know what I mean? Not letting them get away with destroying people's lives. So, yeah. Very much love this movie. Can't wait to check it out again. Next up here, I found Sphere for, well, again, less than $5. And this one is another one that almost never drops below, I would say, about $7 in price. That's, I think, the lowest price I've seen for this one, $7. So the fact that I was able to get it for less than $5, fantastic. This is one of my favorite sci-fi movies from the 90s. And it's a little bit long, it's a little bit drawn out from what it is. Like, they spend too much time in certain areas and then not enough time in others, if you ask me. And some people would say it's a little dull. There isn't a whole lot going on. It's not an action-oriented sci-fi movie, you know what I mean? But I think there's enough action to sustain the film, and it's always kept me interested just from all the cool sci-fi stuff going on. So I have always loved this, and watched it again a few years ago with my good friend Skinslip, and he didn't really like it that much, but I still loved it. So if I can go back to it years later and decide that it's still very good, then might as well put it in my collection. Next up here we have the 20th High School Reunion Edition. That's just the weirdest way to put it, but of Heathers. And let me explain why that's weird. 20th anniversary, I'm assuming, right? If it's 20th anniversary, why doesn't it say 20th anniversary? Why does it say 20th High School Reunion Edition? Like, high school reunion is a thing. 20th high school reunion? Does that mean you've been to 20 high school reunions? What? It's a little weird. But the movie itself is a little weird too. This is a lovely, delightfully twisted movie, and it's almost, it feels like done in the vein of the John Hughes type of movie, but it takes the John Hughes type of movie, of teen movie from the 80s, and kind of flips it on its head in a lot of ways. So absolutely love this movie, and it took me forever to actually see this movie. It wasn't until, like, I want to say maybe 5-6 years ago, something like that, that I actually first saw this movie. But when I did, I was just like, holy crap. I was shocked, surprised that it was actually as good as it was, because I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. I thought, well, if it's an 80s teen movie that I haven't heard of or I haven't seen yet, then there must be a reason for that. And sure enough, there was a reason. The reason was that I just hadn't heard of it. You know, these things happen. But the reality is, this is a fantastic movie. Hilarious, dark comedy, but hilarious and fun. And like I mentioned in, I think, another video, the movie Death Note from Netflix put out that movie Death Note, right? And I felt like that movie actually borrowed a lot of elements from Heathers. So if you like Death Note at all, not a lot of people did, but if you did, maybe give Heathers a chance if you haven't already, because it's very similar in concept. So yeah, get that for less than $5. That's a pretty good deal too. Next up here I got Role Models, which of course is a comedy movie about a bunch of LARPing role players. For those who don't know, LARPing is when you do actual real life role playing, when you play out the actual role like this guy is here of your character. Think Renaissance fairs, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, only they actually play out their actual games in real life. So, yeah, I mean, you can call them nerds and call them goofballs or whatever the hell you want to. Does anybody actually use the term goofball anymore? I don't think so. But anyway, that makes me even nerdier than the nerds in this movie saying goofball. Anyway, when I first saw this, I felt like it was okay, but then as time went on, it kind of grew on me. And ever since I started playing D&D myself a few years ago, it's like, I want to watch that again. And so I've been wanting to get this in my collection, but I didn't want to pay too much for it. So, yeah. Less than $5. That is definitely my price point for this movie, and fits right in there. So glad to be able to have gotten it for such a good price. less than $4.50 really to get it. So very cool. And it's got the unrated version. Ooh, the theatrical and the unrated version. Remember when that was the big thing with all the movies back in the day? Or I want to say back in the day, but you know, about 5-10 years ago, whenever a movie came out, that, especially a comedy movie, that have the unrated version and the theatrical version. They still do that, but not as often. It's not as big of a marketing scheme as it was back then. And it really was a marketing scheme, guys, because most of the time when it was an unrated movie, it was like literally less than a minute of difference. Barely any difference at all. There were times when there would be like literally one scene in the movie would be changed. One scene where they add a cuss word or something like that. It's like, really? Unrated. So silly. But either way, I really enjoy this movie. Can't wait to finally go back to it and check it out again because it's been far too long, quite frankly. Far too long. And then last but not least, I actually got this movie upon the recommendation of my good friend Skinslip, who said that this is a very good movie, and I respect his opinion, but I have never actually seen it. I haven't actually sat down to watch it just yet, even though it was on Netflix for years, and I had every opportunity to do so, and I never actually got around to it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and buy the movie because I know that if he says it's a good movie, that it's probably going to be pretty good. So I decided to pick up Whip It, which is a movie directed by Drew Barrymore, which was like the main reason that I wanted to see it back in the day, but I never got around to it. And it stars, of course, Ellen Page in one of the lead roles, but you've also got Kristen Wiig, you got Drew Barrymore in there as well, Jimmy Fallon, Daniel Stern. A lot of notable actors in this film about, what do they call it? Roller derby. Although it's not really a subject that totally interests me, obviously, otherwise I would have known exactly what it was immediately. But even though it's not a subject that really interests me a whole lot, just the fact that they've got these amazing actors in this movie, and the fact that my friend says it's a really good movie, I know that it's going to be fun. I know it's going to be worth every penny that I paid for it. The only sad part is that this originally came in a green case. I wanted to say pink, but no, it was a green case. And it did not come in a green case this time around. So, oh well. No big deal. If I really want the green case, I can get a green case. But I don't think it'll be that big of a deal for me. So, yeah. Anyways, very cool stuff. And I can't wait to see what this is like. Something tells me it's going to be kind of like the Glow series, if you will, like on Netflix. If you haven't seen the Glow series on Netflix, oh my god, it is brilliant. And they're already putting out the second season soon. So go ahead and go and watch the first season, which just came out last year. It was fantastic, and I can't wait to see more of it. So if it's anything like that, if Whip It is anything like that, I know I'm going to love it. So, yeah. Anyways, that's that. It Blu-rays. It pretty good movies. Pretty good. Even if there are some in here you don't think are very good, I doubt many of you are going to take a look at any of them and say, well, that's just a garbage fire. Maybe one or two. I'm looking at Anonymous and thinking, I don't know, maybe that's a garbage fire. But the others, I feel like you gotta have at least some respect for some of these, you know what I mean? So, yeah. That's what I got this week from Second Spin. I don't know what, if anything, I will have next week, but we'll see. We'll see what happens then. I think really it just depends upon whether or not there are any really good deals on anything of note between now and then. And I doubt there really will be. I doubt I'll even have the opportunity to go out and find anything good between now and then. So I don't know. We'll see, but don't get your hopes up, I guess. One last thing I will show you is something that I picked up for myself, which I didn't need, but I wanted it. And that would be this right here. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember these amazing popsicles, the Ninja Turtles ice cream bars that you can get back in the day? I remember them only ever being available at the from the ice cream guy who would come down your street with the ice cream truck with that stupid jingle that even to this day they use that same jingle whenever it comes down the street. Yep, I remember. And I remember getting one that did not look even remotely as good as this. I remember the little bandana was like much more skewed. One eyeball was like right here, and one was right here. And I swear I don't even remember them actually being gumballs, but I guess they were. And yeah, I do have fond nostalgic memories of that particular ice cream bar, that particular bit of Ninja Turtles history. And that's why when I saw this particular collectible, this vinyl, I want to say figure because it's not a figure, but this vinyl collectible here, I couldn't say no to it. I had to have it. The only weird thing I will say, this is kind of weird, is look how thick this has got to be the thickest popsicle stick I've ever seen. Just really super ridiculously thick. A little too thick for my taste, if you will. But regardless, I love this. This is just, to me, really freaking cool. If you want one of your own, Culture Fly. Go to Culture Fly's website and you can get one for yourself. This cost me $15 plus $5 shipping, so $20. A bit pricey, but if you want to feed your nostalgia, I think it's worth it because it looks fantastic. I know I can't really show you what it looks like on a shelf, but it looks fantastic. So, yeah. Really love that. Very glad that I found that and decided to pick one up for myself. Very cool stuff. Now I just got to get all that stuff out of the way so I can, put that kind of stuff up on the top of the shelf and make it look cool. Anyways, that'll do it for me. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later. Peace.